Hello and welcome to another support video from BluHorn. Today we're going to talk about unrated radio worksheets. So I've logged into my dashboard. You'll notice that I have my menu over here. Many of you probably have your menu over on the left hand side. The way to get rid of that is to click on the settings, and you can either put it on top or on the side. I like to put mine on the top like that because it gives me more room. So to create a worksheet, I'm assuming that you've already established a client, you've got a couple vendors set up, and you've also established a campaign. If you have not done those three things yet, please watch the video on those items or reach out to support using this life draft right here, and we will walk you through the process. But I'm going to assume you have those items already done, and now you're ready to add a worksheet. So I'm going to go into a campaign that's already been established by clicking on the name of it. So here's the name of my client, here's the name of my campaign, here's a job number I assigned to it, here's the flight date range of my campaign, and my commission is set at 15%. If I had remarks, I would put them here. These would appear on every insertion order for that campaign. Alright, I'm ready to add a new worksheet. I like to put the client's name first. I also like to put what kind of media it is, so I'll say radio, unrated. I like to put the time period, and I like to put the market. So in this case, I'll buy Chicago. Be kind to yourself and try to give yourself as much info as you can when you name things. That way you, instead of just calling it radio, well, that could be for any client. So try to give yourself as much info as you can in the names of your items. So this is client name, media type, what kind of market it is, the time period, and then the market itself. So date range, make sure that your dates on your worksheet match the dates in your campaign. They either need to match exactly, or this date needs to be a subset of this date up here. You cannot have a worksheet fall outside of your campaign dates. That's very important. So double check your dates. This is an unrated market. I said I'm going to buy radio, so I'm going to select radio. I said I'm going to buy Chicago, so I'm going to come down here and pick Chicago. Vendors, I'm going to add all vendors. In this case, there's only one vendor, but that's fine for the purposes of this demo. There's one unrated radio vendor associated with Chicago in my BluHorn account. This is the rep for that station. If I have a GRP goal, I'll enter it here. I need to pick a demo, so I'm just going to quickly pick men 25 to 44. If I had a secondary demo, I'd pick it here. I'm going to leave that blank. My commission, I'll leave it 15%. Use broadcast weeks. Yes, I'm buying broadcast radio, so I want to buy using broadcast weeks. These other items, I suggest you leave them as they appear here. Don't change any of these buttons unless you have a really strong reason to do so. So I'm ready to add a worksheet. And then I'll come down here to my list of active worksheets, and you can see that this one now appears in my list. It has 0 spots and $0, obviously, because I have not worked in it yet. So to work in it, I'm going to click on that title, go into the worksheet itself. This is the bread and butter of BluHorn. This is where you will spend all your time, the majority of your time doing your work. So this is where you actually plan your buys. You'll notice here there's a summary by week, and all this data updates in real time. So spots, dollars, GRPs, reach and frequency. It updates in real time as you make changes to your worksheet. There's also a summary here. You can view a summary by day part, by station, by vendor, by spot length, or a full summary, which is all of these items in that box. But since you have it here and you also have it here, I don't really need this box. So to give myself more room, I'm going to hide that summary. I'm going to click on that yellow button, hide the summary, and I give myself a lot more room. Now you can see I'm in my worksheet. Don't forget to click on this green circle and pick the columns that you want to see. So since I do not have a secondary demo, I'm going to get rid of all those columns. I'm also not buying bookends, so I don't need to see that. I do like to have my ID line on there, so I'm going to go ahead and select that box as well. Alright, so I'm happy with this. I'm going to collapse that. Don't forget, you can manipulate the width of these columns. This is like a Google sheet or an Excel sheet, so you can do things like sort. So there's a tiny little arrow here. See that arrow right there? I could sort it alphabetically if I had multiple lines here. Either way. So don't forget about all these little features. Alright, so I'm going to manually add an avail, and then I'll also upload some avails to show you how quick that process is as well. So again, I only have one vendor to pick from, so I'm going to pick that one vendor. Station, you can either use the call letters just like that, or you can use the nickname of the station. So if it's Rock 100, you might call it Rock 100 or whatever. So I'll do a morning drive spot, 6A to 10A. I'll buy Monday through Friday. I'll say the length is 30. I'll just say my rate is $4.50. This is where I would enter the rating. So since this is an unrated market, I have to get this info from my rep. But once I do, I would type that in here. So let's just say it gets a 2.5 rating. If you have the QM info from the rep, you can put that in there. It'll calculate the cost per point. If you have impressions, add that in there from your rep. That translates to a $75 cost per thousand. And then here are the actual weeks. So I'm going to buy 5 spots a week across the board. And if I had a comment, I would add it here, you know, like equal rotation or first spot in the break or whatever comment you need to add. All right, so that's how you add a line. This line is now complete. I'm going to show you how to upload avails to save time. So instead of manually typing all your avails, you can get what's called an XML file from your rep, and you will simply import that file. So you have to tell BluHorn where to get it. I've got some saved here. I believe this one's called this. You can see it's kind of hard to read, but the computer is able to read it, so you just say okay. Just leave it on the default template. Import week, this is important. It's either absolute or relative. The only time you use absolute is if you know for a fact that your XML file dates match your worksheet dates exactly. If they do not match exactly, then pick relative, and then you just say add. It's going to give me a preview. Oh, first it's going to ask, do you want all these values to be associated with these lookup keys? And so yes, in this case. Now in a real life situation, this would match this, but since this is just a demo, they don't technically match. But I'm going to say yes, these are all correct, and I'm going to go say yes, next. It's going to give me a preview of all the avails it's going to add for me. Again, this would typically match this, or this would be Rock 100, whatever I give it. But I'm ready to load these into my worksheet now. So I just say load, and now I'm back in that same worksheet, and all those line items are now there waiting for me. So you can see what a huge time saver that would be, to have all of these lines entered in your worksheet. And of course you can come over here and manipulate the numbers as you see fit. So this doesn't have any spots, but I'm gonna have to add, I'm gonna buy 5 spots a week in this line item. And don't forget, you can simply grab this little box and copy it all the way down. That's another time saver like that. So that's another way to save time. So once you're happy with your worksheet, I like to go ahead and preview my order, or go to station order settings first. And just make sure that you've clicked on the vendor's name, and then pick the columns that you want to appear on your order. It looks like everything here is selected, so that's good. I'm going to leave that. If I had traffic, I could enter it here. So, you know, put your ISKI code or whatever the spot number is. If you have comments like please confirm this order, you could type it there. And I think you're just ready to preview your order. So I'm going to click on preview order. And here's what the order looks like. This is a 4-page order. These are all the different line items. Even the spots, even the lines that don't have spots appear on this order. Now, if you don't want those, we can certainly take those off. But every line item is here. Here's a summary. So I bought 125 spots with an 80 reach, 3.6 frequency. Looks like I spent 28,000 gross, 24,000 net. There's my impressions, my cost per point, etc. This is where the traffic would appear if I typed it. This is where the comments appear. I would actually send this to my rep through BluHorn. I would have them print it out, sign it, date it, and send it back to me by email to confirm. So the way to send an order is to simply click on this box right here, or you can always use this drop-down menu. All those items appear in here as well. So you can send an order from here. You can create an order without sending it, or you can actually send it to your rep. So I'm going to send it to my rep by clicking send. Obviously you have to tell it which one. So there's only one vendor, one rep. They're going to get that order. If I had multiple stations with multiple reps, they would only get their order. Some people are confused thinking that the rep is going to get every order on the buy. No, this BluHorn is smart enough to send only that rep their individual order. But you, yourself, the buyer, will get a copy of every single order. So that's helpful. And then once you're ready to send, you simply click the send button. In this case, I'm going to cancel it, but that's how you send an order. So that's an unrated radio worksheet. Don't forget, we're always here to help you. If you ever get stuck or frustrated, please click on this life draft. Someone from our support team will always be available to help you or walk you through the process or get on a screen share. Thank you for being a BluHorn customer.